Hey everybody, welcome to the Pancake Boat Podcast. I'm your host as always, Chad. This is my co-host, TF. How you doing tonight, TF?
I'm doing pretty good, actually. It's always fun to do the podcast. It always brightens up my day, which has been pretty busy up to this point. But I'm doing good. Just glad to be here and doing the show as always.
How about you, Jew? Jew.
I didn't know you were a Jew, Joe, but apparently.
But you, Joe, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. It's always a fast-moving week, especially now that kind of my internet's kind of settled down, thankfully. And thankfully we can do the podcast now, like we keep saying. I mean, for all those weeks I was gone, it kind of makes you take joy in actually getting to do it, like TF said about, just writing up the day. So I'm definitely looking forward to tonight getting down to the podcast. How about you, Chad?
I've been doing pretty good. I had a pretty good week, actually. I mean, you're back, so we've been able to start playing Xbox and stuff again, which helps keep my nights a lot busier. We did have one crazy night or crazy day earlier this week where I ended up going to Walmart with my mom, and we were leaving the parking lot, and this old guy is backing right up into us. My mom starts trying to beat the horn to tell him dude, we're right here, and he backs right into us, and the whole front of the car was all smashed up. And needless to say, she was not too happy about that, but thankfully nobody was hurt, so it could have been a lot worse. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy situation. How about you, TF? Any interesting stories from this week?
Not really. This has been a pretty tame week all in all, especially compared to the past couple before. But I've really just been trying to take it easy, which is kind of a nice change of pace as of late. But yeah, I mean, summer's kind of coming to an end now, so I guess that kind of transitioning into that more calm, slower paced style, getting back to I guess the usual grind. But I can't really complain. It's been a really long summer, and it's been a decent summer. So I'm actually kind of ready for fall to come. It was really hot here today, and I guess it's kind of summer making its last stand or whatever you have it. So really, I'm not too sad about September coming, which is actually just about an hour away right now. I'm sure when the show is actually up, it'll be September. But
I can't wait. I am not a fan of summer. It's too hot, and it's just past few summers haven't really been that good to me. So I'm very much looking forward to fall. I'm looking forward to all the holidays and everything coming up. But good times ahead. How about you, Joe? Any interesting stories from this week?
Not really that I can think of. I mean, today's actually been a pretty easygoing week. It's kind of good with all the recent net trouble and stuff. Not really too much to say. I mean, probably the highlight of my week will probably be going to Golden Corral tomorrow, but that's actually tomorrow, so I can't review it. I'll probably review it maybe next week or something. But
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's always fun to go. I've only been there once, but it was pretty good last time, so I look forward to it.
Well, I'll jump right into our first topic here tonight. I talked about a car crash earlier, and now I'll talk about a wedding crash. Taylor Swift crashed a Kennedy wedding, it says, and I'm here on CelebrityMagnet.com. I'll read off the story. According to Vicky Kennedy, the widow of Michael Kennedy and mother of Victoria Gifford Kennedy, Taylor Swift crashed her aforementioned daughter's wedding in Boston over the weekend. Even more interesting, she was asked to leave on 2 separate occasions, but chose not to do so. According to Vicky, the first request came when Swift, 22, sent a text along with her new boyfriend and cousin of the bride, Connor Kennedy, 18, to attend the wedding. They texted me an hour before the wedding and asked if they could come. Vicky Kennedy said, I responded with a very clear, please do not come. They came anyway. After their arrival, Vicky approached the singer. I personally went up to Miss Swift, whose entrance distracted the entire event, politely introduced myself to her and asked her so nicely as I could, to leave. It was like talking to a ghost. She seemed to look right past me. Connor was reportedly invited to the wedding, but never RSVP'd. When Vicky received a text message from her nephew asking if she could attend the event with his new girlfriend, music superstar Taylor Swift, she only declined due to the starlet's overwhelming popularity and fear that she would unintentionally steal the spotlight from her daughter on her big day. But Swift's spokeswoman, Paula Erickson, insisted that it was not true. There is no truth to that, she said. Taylor was invited to the wedding, and the bride thanked her profusely for being there. Interestingly enough, the bride reportedly says otherwise. If anything, it's worth pointing out that if this happened to Swift, I am sure a few hit singles would be spawned from it. Come on now, it's got the perfect storyline for something the singer would write about. I am sure we will have much more interesting, I am sure we will hear much more about the endeavors of Taco. Well, that's a very interesting story, and when I first read about this, I knew it was probably going to be one of the main stories of the week, but kind of a non-story in general, but I don't know. I can kind of see where the lady's coming from. Like the whole, she doesn't want Taylor to, overshadow her daughter's wedding and everything, which she kind of would. But at the same time, I feel like it's kind of rude to be like, oh, don't come to my wedding. I don't want you there. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I really don't know who's in the right or who's in the wrong here, who's telling the truth or whatever. But I can see both sides, I guess. What about UTF?
Well, I'm a big fan of Taylor Swift. I can see both sides, kind of like you said, but in my opinion, it's just kind of a jerk move to ask her to leave. I mean, her boyfriend is a Kennedy, and I mean, I'm sure he wanted her to be there, and I just think that, I don't know. I mean, I would honestly would be kind of offended if say someone in my family was getting married and I wanted to bring my girlfriend there, and they told me that she wasn't allowed to come. I just think that's a little biased. I mean, we're talking about the Kennedys here. It's not like it's just some random people having a wedding. These are famous people in their own right. It's not really like there's very many people or very many situations that could overshadow something going on in their family already. So
it's very true.
I think that it's kind of just a non-issue in a way, and I think that the fact that they even made it an issue kind of maybe unintentionally brought the type of attention they didn't even want in the first place, and it kind of is overshadowing it now. So I just think that it's kind of a silly story, but it is funny in a way because Taylor actually had a song called "Speak Now," which was kind of about crashing a wedding in a way. So I know they joked at the end about her writing a song about that, but she kind of already did have a song about that.
How about you, Joe? You have any thoughts on this?
It's definitely kind of a weird story in general. I mean, like it is kind of rude not to like invite someone, and I don't know about that RSVP thing because it said like they RSVP'd and he never like responded, but at the same time it's just like it is kind of a jerk move to say to like leave, but I don't know. I guess I could see their point in the sense that it kind of would overshadow, and I don't know though. It just seems like kind of a strange story because it just seems like it makes Taylor Swift come off kind of like a jerk, but I can't really see that in a sense because she didn't seem like that type of person. Like that whole like walk past me like a ghosting, like ignoring me. That seems kind of weird to me.
That does seem kind of weird, but then again, we don't really know that she's telling the truth either.
That's why, yeah, you really can't tell, which side is right or which side is wrong, and really, it's not. It doesn't even seem like either side is really in the right or the wrong. It just seems like a miscommunication of sorts of, just something going wrong. Maybe like both sides are kind of like, well, not both sides. We only heard one side kind of, but maybe it's kind of one of those things where it's like they kind of over exaggerated just because of their anger or whatever. It's a weird situation to say the least.
I can definitely agree with what TF said, though. I mean, like, wouldn't it be kind of weird if like, say TF was getting married, and I like showed up with my girlfriend Lucy Hale, we'll say. And how would you feel, Joe, if like TF's wife walked up to me, or wife to be, or her mom walked up to me and she like asked like, I want you guys to leave. I don't want my daughter's wedding to be overshadowed.
Well, yeah, that would be really weird. Like I said, that was probably like a rude part. But at the same time, I believe that article said that they actually said that she couldn't come in the first place. So that was kind of weird for them to even show up. So it's a very weird story, to be honest with you. Like I don't even get to half of it. Like I don't even understand why they wouldn't want her there. At the same time, I wouldn't understand why like they would just randomly come there, like crash the wedding. I don't know. It's just very strange. To me, I think there's like details we don't know. Like maybe someone else in the family like said, just come anyways or something like that. I don't know. It just seems like really weird that like this whole situation just seems like we're missing some pieces to the story.
Yeah, I agree with that. There probably is a lot to this story that we don't know about. But
honestly, I would be more concerned about the fact that Taylor's actually dating a Kennedy. I mean, the women who date the Kennedys don't necessarily have that great of a track record as far as fate goes. So
that's true.
I don't know. I mean, I wish them all the best, obviously, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I do like their kind of their couple name though, Taco. I mean, that's
I know.
I do enjoy tacos, so.
All right, I'll move on to our second story of the night. A bigger story for me, and that is that Alf is going to get a movie, and it's actually going to be made by the same people that made the Smurfs movie. And I never actually saw the Smurfs movie. I know there's kind of a mixed reaction to it, but I'm kind of interested to see where they go with it. One thing I really don't like about it is the fact that it's going to be CGI. So to me, when I think of Alf, I think of like the Alf puppet. Like to me, that's just Alf, and I really don't like the idea of them like making this computer-generated version of Alf. To me, it just kind of sounds like I just really hope they don't ruin it, like they kind of ruined Alvin and the Chipmunks for me, where they just made it into this they just made it into this thing that it's not, and it's just I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about this. What about you, TF?
Well, I kind of agree with you. I've never really been that big of a fan of CGI things. Like, one of the things that kind of bothered me about the Avengers was kind of how they use a lot of CGI with the characters there, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of like it more when especially if there's like a comic book character or something like that, or a superhero or something that they kind of I almost want to say more realistic, just because it's kind of hard to feel connected to like a character that's like CGI. Like I remember there was like a Garfield movie too, wasn't there? That was like CGI, like not too long ago.
I actually didn't mind that, to be honest. I think it was like 2004.
But see, that's one thing where I can kind of see it being a decent usage, because obviously you're not going to have a realistic looking cat that talks and whatnot. But I could kind of see the usage in the Avengers, like with the Hulk and whatnot. But it just seems kind of weird when you see these actual like real life people who are kind of dressed as these superheroes, and then you have this CGI character like walking around. It just kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't work. And that was kind of a lot of the appeal of Alf when you think about it. It was that he was kind of this puppet in a way, and it was just, I think that the campiness and the goofiness of it is what kind of made it so awesome. And I think you will kind of lose a lot of that when you make it CGI. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm still interested in it just because I love Alf. We have a long history with Alf, and honestly, the show was really one of the better shows from that entire era, and probably one of my favorite shows ever, to be honest. Even though I realize it's not one of the better made TV shows or anything, but it's just a fun show, and I would like to see a movie that turned out as good as the show was, but I do think there will be quite a bit lost in making it CGI. But if they do it good, I think that it could work out, and I would enjoy it. But I guess we'll see. Only time will tell.
They are at least keeping the same guy that does the voice, so that's a plus.
That is a big plus.
What are your thoughts on this whole thing, Joe?
I definitely think they kind of overuse the CGI thing, just because I think like I don't mind that modern movies. Like modern day movies are fine, just because it kind of fits the story. But like, if you're going for it kind of confuses me with your fan base, because like maybe you're going for a more modern fan base. I could kind of see that, but I just
don't want like Alf rapping and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you're going for like a modern fan base with the CGI stuff, okay, I can get that. But at the same time, it's just like kind of the appeal of stuff is like anything like 80s and stuff, or even 90s and stuff like that, is in because of the style it was. I mean, you don't need to modernize it. It just has an audience of its own, and I think that could be the same thing with Elf. I think Hollywood almost like too much like tries to modernize everything instead of like just letting the time period speak for itself. It's kind of like we talked about like with the new Brady Bunch and the Munsters, how they it's how like the Brady Bunch was kind of like its own time period, where it's kind of like that's the appeal of it. I think Elf is kind of the same way, where it's kind of like you do relate to the puppet, you do relate to even the intro, where Elf was kind of just like it was from his perspective, and from the CGI, I just really don't know if that's the same thing. I mean, I'm not saying that's it could be a really good movie. I mean, it may not go that route. I haven't seen the Smurfs either, but I don't know. It's just weird to me. It's kind of like maybe it just bothers us more than it does kids because we actually grew up watching it, so we know more about it. It doesn't feel as nostalgic. It doesn't feel as like.
Well, kids kind of don't really know much else in CGI. I mean, other than stuff like Sesame Street or something like that, and like I really dread the day when something like that turns CGI. But
that was one thing I really liked about the Muppets movie, was the fact that they didn't really change anything, and they even kind of touched on the fact that it was like this outdated concept, but they weren't going to change for anybody. I love that. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. Like that's kind of what I think they should do. Just capitalize on that and kind of make it a nostalgic thing. But I guess we'll see how it does. I mean, I'm interested to just see the movie in general. I mean, probably more than I was like Alvin and the Chipmunks, unless they come out with a commercial like Elf rapping and stuff like that. And then...
Elf rapping. As funny as that sounds, I would not. That does not sound very Alf-like. Unless it was like some 80s or 90s rap, which would be...
Then it'd work.
Yeah.
I'm picturing them having like Alf like singing like the Black Eyed Peas or something, though, just to come off more hip than comedic. I don't know. About one thought I do kind of have about this, and this is admittedly kind of a weird thought, but one thing I really love about Alf is the fact that he is such this obscure reference that I don't know, it just kind of feels almost like this inside joke. Like anyone that gets it, anyone that knows who Alf is, they'll find it funny. But so many people don't know who Alf is that it's kind of, I don't know, that there's just like some humor in there. And if they actually make Alf popular again, I mean, it'd be kind of neat in a way to see like Alf become like a big thing again, like the Chipmunks did. But I don't know, I just feel like I would kind of feel sad that like this figure from my past that I reference here and there as like this comedic thing would just be kind of gone. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. It's kind of one of those shows, Alf, and one of those characters that over the years has kind of really lost its popularity, but there's still this cult group that remembers it, or people who actually grew up in the days of Alf, like say someone like you, but it isn't something that's kind of transferred over to kind of the current generation in any way. So this is really probably going to be, for a lot of people, their first introduction to Alf, and it would be sad if they knew this totally different Alf compared to, say, the Alf we knew.
Much like the Chipmunks.
Yeah, exactly. And I really think that's sad, because when you are introducing something like that to a totally new audience that's probably never even heard of Alf in the first place, that it's really kind of sad to make their first kind of experience with Alf something totally different. I mean, if it was something that had already been kind of introduced before and they were kind of doing a different spin on it, that would be one thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of kids or a lot of young people thought that Alf was something new. Like, this was something that was, totally new and different.
This is a bit off topic, but I didn't actually know that you saw the Avengers, TF. How was it?
I thought it was a pretty good movie. I saw it. It was kind of a while back now, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. A lot of people I knew actually liked it, and that kind of made me a little worried going in there. Just maybe that it might have kind of some high expectations, but I actually enjoyed it. It was one of the better movies I've seen recently. So yeah, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say.
I haven't actually seen it yet, but I did see Captain America, and I really like that, so I might have to check it out sometime. But I think I'll actually move on to our next topic here tonight, and that is that Aly and AJ, another figure, or two other figures somewhat from our past, they're coming back with a new show on Fox. And I'll read off here. It's on Deadline.com. Acting singing duo Aly and AJ Michalka may star together in a comedy series next. The two sisters topline a half-hour project, which has been sold to Fox. It hails from writers Matt Dearborn and Adam Goldberg, Happy Madison, and Sony Pictures TV. On the Untitled single-camera comedy, which has just received a script commitment, Aly and AJ will play versions of themselves. Finally out of the house and into their first apartment, Aly and AJ's exciting new lives are interrupted when their mother unexpectedly moves in with them. Breaking in co-creator Goldberg and Zeke and Luther co-creator Dearborn will write the script, and executive produce with Happy Madison's Doug Robinson. Aly and AJ will serve as co-producers. This sounds interesting to me because I really liked Aly and AJ. To be honest, I think we've actually talked about this here on the show a few times, but I think I was actually Allison Michalka's first fan, because I remember back when Phil of the Future was first debuting on the Disney Channel, I was seeing the commercials and I was like, dude, that girl's cute. And I was like talking about her, and like none of you guys knew who she was. And I remember I even did like a Google search, and my name had like more results than her name. And obviously that's changed over the years. They kind of had this period for a few years where they were like really big stars, but that's unfortunately kind of calmed down in the past few years. So I'm really hoping that this show will kind of renew themselves with the audience a little bit. I'm excited for it. I'm going to check it out. What are your thoughts, TF?
Well, I'm looking forward to checking it out. I used to love, Aly and AJ's music. I still do, but they haven't really put anything out in a while. They have a lot of great songs. I loved Phil of the Future, back in the day, which of course had Allison Michalka in it, and I kind of like that show that she was in recently that didn't last. I don't really.
I like that too.
Yeah, it's kind of funny like saying the name on here, but yeah, the name of the show, just because. Well,
with Ashley Tisdale.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that that was okay, and it's funny because AJ actually guest starred a few times in that show, so it's kind of like they're kind of a package deal. Like wherever one goes, the other seems to go too, and I think it's kind of cool they stick together like that, because they're a pretty cool duo, and I support them. I think that it's cool to see them kind of continuing to stay relevant and staying on the scene, especially since, like you said, that we were some of the first people who even knew that either of them existed. So I'm definitely gonna check it out. It sounds pretty interesting. I'm kind of wondering exactly what the show is going to be about. I mean, I know it says that they're going to be playing like character versions of themselves, but I'm kind of interested to see where it goes and really what the show is all about.
What about you, Joe? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm definitely interested to check it out. It sounds like it has a good track record because they, have some pretty not really well-known writers, but some pretty decent writers, and the show premise sounds pretty fun, with like their mom moving in and stuff, and them being themselves. So I definitely want to see this just because it sounds like it's kind of like a. I'm trying to like think of a good comparison like with a show that it could be like, but in general, it just seems kind of like a different type of show than we're kind of used to seeing these days. So I definitely want to check it out and see what's out. And I definitely am a fan of both of them. I mean, they had some really good songs, and hopefully the show actually features them like doing some more songs and stuff, and kind of putting out some new music out there too. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. I think it has a lot of potential. I don't know if it'll catch on or grow places, but it'd be fun just to see, just check it out and see what they do.
One thing that kind of makes me hesitant is the fact that it's on Fox, and Fox doesn't really have the best track record with sitcoms the past few years.
No, it doesn't. It's funny because they mentioned that one of the producers was actually on that, what was it called, that, you mentioned a show that they produced.
Breaking In?
Yeah, Breaking In, and I remember that show didn't even last like a whole season, did it?
I don't even remember that show.
I heard a lot of people, a few people who liked it, but a lot of people were kind of surprised that it ended so early. I did like that Zeke and Luther show though. That was on like
I like that too.
Disney XD, and so I mean, I never saw the Breaking In show, but I did like Zeke and Luther. So maybe it's a little more like that and a little less like Breaking In, which again I didn't really see, but obviously it didn't really take off. I mean, maybe it'll bring something different to the table on their lineup. They don't really have a lot of shows geared towards younger people, except for like Glee and shows like that. And most of their shows, like you said, don't even last. So they kind of are constantly changing whatever programming is on there. And I think they're really their only staples recently were like American Idol and House, and both of those like House is over with, and their other shows kind of American Idol is definitely in its dying days. So I think they're kind of going through a transitioning period here, and it'll be interesting to see where they go.
Which might give the show some hope, because maybe they're just kind of... I mean, it's kind of like NBC. I remember we were big fans of Chuck, and every year it would get renewed, and we were kind of surprised because of the low ratings it got. But I don't know. Like, I really hope that this show does succeed, and I really hope that it does really well right away, because that increases its chances of staying on the air. But
speaking of TV, we got to get our other friend Joe on here to talk about the new seasons coming up and whatnot, and all the premieres.
Yeah, we do. How about you try and talk to him this week? We'll see if we can get him on for next week.
Yeah, I actually talked to him a few days ago, and he expressed some interest in coming on here, and I thought that'd be interesting because he's like the television guru of kind of our circle of friends, and I think that he would have some interesting insights onto what he thinks might make it, what might not, and some of his shows he's looking forward to. So that's going to be a pretty fun show. Probably within the next couple weeks, we'll have to be bringing that stuff out, but yeah.
That sounds great. Maybe we'll even get his thoughts on this show. See if this is something he might like.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
All right. Speaking of shows, we actually have a review tonight. This is actually our first review in some time. We were kind of doing like these weekly reviews back in December for our Christmas shows, and then we kind of decided to keep it going for a little bit, but it didn't really work out. I think we did maybe 2 or 3 before we kind of just tapped out to the idea and just decided, this isn't something that we should do regularly, but we are going to bring it back here and there. And this week I thought it would be fun if we reviewed this really obscure 70s show called Lidsville, which was made by the same people that made H.R. Pufnstuf, who were Sid and Marty Krofft. They made a lot of shows like H.R. Pufnstuf. They made Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, an old favorite of Joe's. A lot of just really random out there shows, and I kind of have mixed thoughts on a lot of those shows because it's like they're funny in a bad way, and they're kind of horrifying in a way too.
But they were clearly made by somebody who was on drugs.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just
scary.
Looking at that, that's very clear just looking at it. And then I don't know. I mean, it was made in the late '60s, early '70s, so the time period's right. But I don't know. Like if I were a kid watching this, and I think I actually did see some of this as a kid, I would be terrified seeing this. Like, it's not really that scary, I guess, to an adult, but even as an adult watching some of that stuff, it's kind of creepy, but it's just a very weird show. But Lidsville was the one we watched tonight, and what the plot basically was, Eddie Munster as a teenager was at a magic show, and he went backstage to like mess around with the magician's hat and see like how he did those tricks, and all of a sudden he drops the hat, and the hat starts like growing to this gigantic size, and he's like scared, and he like falls in the hat, and he's like falling into this like vortex or something. And there's all these like monster faces looking at him, and he's like, ah, and he falls down into this world where like these evil hats are like chasing after him like a pirate, and I think there's like this guy with an axe, and they like chase him into this big like giant hat that is like the evil magician's house, and the evil magician like keeps him there and thinks he's a spy, and he's like trying to get information out of him, and then he brings out his genie, which kind of confused me because I'm not really sure why a magician would need a genie, especially when this magician was like doing all this magic stuff here on the show. But and then stupidly enough, he like asked his genie to show up just to like take the kid to a room, which like couldn't he have just had the rabbit guy do that? But
Plus the rabbit guy, he wasn't really
That's
the
true.
best servant, the best like accomplice.
That's very true, but they took him to the room, and the kid ended up going to get the ring from the magician so that he could free the genie, because the genie was actually nice, and they like made friends, and then the genie like transported them out of there, but they were like hanging from a tree over a shampoo river. I know this sounds ridiculous.
Very
It was
hokey
ridiculous.
effects thrown in there.
Yes, very hokey effects. We talked about CGI here earlier here on the show, and if any show could use CGI, I think it would be this show. But,
Yeah.
But long story short, the kid ended up making friends with like the nice hats, and they're like doing battle with the magician, like throwing like all this stuff at them. And there was an old lady like driving a motorcycle, and there was like this really racist like Japanese chef guy, and the magician was like flying in a hat over them, this like flying hat plane like thing, and they like started throwing stuff at him, and he like falls, and he's like ah, and he falls into the shampoo river, and this all sounds like some very strange dream, but I swear I'm not making any of this up. We just watched this, and what were your thoughts on this, DF? It was a very interesting experience, I thought.
Well, I mean, what can you really say about this? Like I said right at the start, I mean, someone was clearly on drugs when this was made, and I mean, I think it really represents the time period pretty well when you think about it. But I mean, I'd watched that HR Puff and Stuff show before. You know, we had seen some of these guys' work, Marty Krofft and that other guy, and I really don't know what to say. I mean, that was definitely one of the craziest half hours of television I've ever seen in my life, and I just kind of lost it laughing at that part where the guy's flying around in the hat, and they're like throwing fruit or vegetables or something at the guy, and then they bring out this cannon and shoot him down, and he goes falling into that like bubble, what was it, like a shampoo river, and
I lost it laughing at an even weirder part where like one of the rabbits was like going up to something, and all of a sudden like the gator on the wall, like it was like a gator like in like a deer's head like thing, and he's like, "No, Voldar, don't do that." It just cracked me up.
that was just crazy. I don't even know how to properly review something like that, but I'm definitely glad that I did watch it just because of the hilarity of it. But wow, it's just crazy.
No promises, but I may actually include like our ongoing commentary here at the end, because I actually did record it, and unfortunately I can't put up the video here for copyright reasons. But I don't know if it like recorded any of the audio or anything. But if you like actually sync it in and like watch the video, it was actually episode 1 of Lidsville. You can find it right on YouTube like we did, and if you actually sync in the audio, you can like listen to us as we're talking about it, which could be for an interesting experience. But what were your thoughts, Joe?
I can't even, like, they must have been some heavy drugs, is all I can say about that show, because, like, even TF made this remark about, like, one of the guys there was carrying, like, this pig. He's like, why was he carrying this pig? And the pig, like, talked to him. I forgot what he said, but he, like, said some weird thing, like, yeah, or something like that. And I was just, like, really confused by this. And in general, it was just really confusing. I mean, the magician was, like, green, and he had, like, this like all, even his eyebrows are, like, red, and he was, like, he was just, and he had like his comical face and like found the shampoo river, like It's just really one of the strangest shows I've ever seen. Just like looking at this and thinking like, wow. I mean, what did
Dude, you should show that to your little brother, see what he does.
He would. I don't even know. I think he would probably like walk out of the room and be like, I don't know what I'm watching. He'd probably revoke this whole thing. But
Have nightmares about that magician guy.
Yeah, I probably would have probably seen that at that age.
it was definitely quite the show to watch. I mean, it's one of those things like Recess, kind of just so bad that it's kind of just comical for that reason now. It's like so over the top.
Recess?
No, it's comical that it's so bad. I didn't say Recess. Where did I say Recess?
I thought you said it was like one of those things that's so bad like Recess. And I'm like, whoa, dude, what are you talking about? Recess was awesome.
No, it's one of those things that's so bad that, you kind of just laugh at it just because it's so bad. Like, that's why it's funny. And it was so over the top, too, because, like, that motorcycle lady would be like, honeys, or something like that. It's, like, randomly, like, she's like this.
She said that, like, 50 million times, like, get on the back, honey.
And then
Joe said it the same way, honey.
And then the genie would, like talking in this weird way, like, I can't, like, I lost my powers because of this guy, or I'm, like, shaken up by him. And I'm guessing, like, this is just my guess, but maybe, like, the genie was actually... Like, he had the genie first, kind of unlocked the genie, and then he got the magical powers, so she was kind of there beforehand, and he kind of, like, uses her as a slave or something.
Maybe.
A servant? I shouldn't say slave, but, like, a servant, and I don't know, that's kind of what I got out of it. I was trying to make sense of this whole show. I was like, let's see what they actually make sense of this.
This is not the show to make sense of.
I probably put more thought into that than they actually did. But it was definitely quite the show to watch, and I'd actually like to review more shows, kind of just wacky and out there like that, just because just our reactions to that was kind of crazy. Like, you mentioned you had to record it, it's just... crazy how we reacted to that, because like I know I was like, what the heck, like a lot of this stuff, like right out loud, and we were just like really confused by all this stuff. And the Shampoo River, which is like some type of like cheap paper in the background of like the sky, and then like this river like like bubbles going down, and it's, like the suds will kill you or something like that lady, that genie said. And I was like, what?
It didn't kill the magician guy, like barely faced him.
What about that? Like I thought, wait, why are they killing this guy? Why are they like throwing him in the
killing
shampoo?
you.
Well, yeah, why are they throwing the Shampoo River if you're not going to survive? And all of a sudden he survived. Maybe he's a magician, so he like...
Well, he was kind of evil. I mean, he was trying to, like, kill them.
That's true. Maybe it was just kind of like one of those things where, like, he's a magician, so he was like... It wasn't as bad for him or something. I don't know. It's a very weird show. I can't even explain it, but it was definitely quite interesting to watch this show. And it makes you appreciate for even shows like today that aren't quite this crazy.
Yeah, we complain a lot about like kids' TV today, but I think the kids probably have it pretty well compared to stuff from back then. At least stuff like that. Like, they had some good shows back then, like Scooby-Doo and stuff, but... Yeah, that was our review of Lidsville. That was very fun. And now it's time for our trademark segment of the show. It's time for 5... What were you going to say, Joe?
I said, ha. I was like, I didn't say anything.
Ha. Are you, like, doing your impression of, like, the magician guy?
There I go. Like...
Now it's time for 5 random questions, and it's actually your week, Joe, so I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Well, this is going to be a very kind of weird week, because I was like, I just came up with these ridiculous questions because I wasn't really sure. So
it fits the theme of Lidsville.
It definitely does, and I think I'll let you go first this week, Chad, since you actually went first last week, and I actually remember that for once about that. But
there you go.
Okay, after dating the girl of your dreams, you find out a secret about her. We've done this before, but with different situations. She's actually a human, a robot molded to be a human, put on the earth to kind of test how a robot would live a normal human life. But she still ends up falling in love with you, feeling actual feelings for you that she really didn't have programmed into herself, and actually really wants to remain with you despite this secret. You continue to see this girl, or is it too weird for you to actually be dating a robot? Like I said, this is a really random week, so I apologize if people think I was on drugs writing these questions. I can assure you I was not.
I need to think about this. It'd be kind of weird because you would kind of question if she maybe has a soul, but considering she actually like does have real feelings, like I don't know, like maybe God did put a soul in her or something. But you know, as weird as this sounds, like I mean, if things are working out between us and we feel stuff for each other, then I don't care if she is a robot. I'll date her. Like I said, like life is so unexplainable that you never know if maybe like God did put a soul in this robot girl or something. So who am I to discriminate? I mean, I guess there's like, I don't really know if this like applies to bestiality or not, but it's, I don't know. I'd give it a try with Robot Girl. What about you, TF?
Well, I think that the whole concept is kind of weird. I don't really know how I'd react to this. At first, it'd be kind of weird, like, whoa, how the heck does a robot do all this stuff? Like, I didn't even know this kind of technology existed. I might even kind of question it at first, like, how am I going to prove that this is actually like a robot? Like, it kind of just all around would kind of shock me. I don't really even know how I would react to that. I kind of would just be like, wow, when was this type of technology developed? Like, where did it come from? Like, really, like, where would it come from? Like, would this be like some kind of like other planet or something? Like, sending this here to like test the waters or something, Joe? Like,
I mean, after, like, I just pictured, like, I actually got this question from Ned's Declassified, because they actually had, like, this episode where, like, Mose thought these girls looked like robots, so I was just, like, ripping that off. I just thought about that. I was like, I wonder how they would react.
That was a great show, by the way.
Yeah,
I wonder how they would react if like, I asked this question, if they're, like, a robot. Like, I don't know, maybe they're just, like, programmed that way. Maybe, you know, technology is so far advanced that for all we know, there could really be robots out there that are, like, disguised as humans. We just wouldn't know. I mean, obviously,
that's true.
Obviously, you would have to know after a while, but like if you just start dating this girl, you're obviously not going to be around her like that much to know she's a robot. It could easily fool you. I mean, I picture it being more like she's actually like a human girl with a normal voice and stuff. So you get like thrown off by this because she's programmed to be so well by the government or something like that.
I gotta say, that would be in a strange way. That would be kind of hot. Like, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be so weird. It just would be kind of like, well, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would want to actually like date it or anything, but like, just because it would be like this piece of machinery. I mean, it would kind of feel like I was dating a car or something, you know. But like, I don't know.
Okay. I mothered the car.
Yeah, like something like that, or like what was that hilarious thing that one time you suggested about them making this new MacGyver where like MacGyver was like the new guy taking over Peter Thornton's job, and like Peter Thornton like died and came back as like some kind of object or something.
I have no memory.
He came back as a computer. That's what it was, and like the.
But I have no doubt it was something that I suggested.
But yeah, yeah.
That was worth it for your answer. But all right.
So I'd date the robot and TF wouldn't.
Well, he did say
I don't know. I mean, maybe it would be interesting. I mean, I don't know how it would. I don't know what it would be like to actually get intimate with this robot. I mean, that idea kind of worries me. Like, what if I like start like making out with it or something and I get electrocuted? I think die at the hands of some robot.
I want to see a movie like this now.
Maybe like their robot parts like crush you or something.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to question number 2, and you can answer first. Okay, this is actually, I'm going to put you on the spot, because this is actually one of those choose a number and kind of cast from it. So,
ooh, I love those.
Okay, I'm just going to let you cast a movie, and I'm going to let the people, whoever you pick, kind of tell the story here, and you can come up with a plot. So, go ahead and pick from 1 through 100, but we'll go one at a time so you go slow.
52, I guess.
52 would be Shaquille O'Neal. This already has potential.
What the heck? I'm expecting a girl here, but okay.
That's a movie, so.
Oh, well, I was thinking more of like the other. What was that one where one of you did something like this and you were like picking these girls to like be in a movie with us or something? But this is interesting.
There are girls on this list, so.
I'm already interested though.
All right, so we got Shaquille O'Neal. Pick another number.
24.
24 is David Letterman.
Captain David Letterman.
All right, so that's 2. Pick one. Pick another number.
How many numbers do I have to pick?
3 more. And
then 73.
73 would be Robert Downey Jr.
Iron Man.
2 more, and then we'll let you pick your plot.
3.
3 is James Cameron.
Who?
Cameron.
Actually, I should pick someone else because he's a director. Well, maybe he directs the movie. I'll actually make it 4, and he could direct the movie.
Didn't he direct Titanic?
He did. Avatar. Okay, one more number.
Avatar. 30.
30 would be Brad Pitt. This is actually quite the movie. Brad Pitt, Shaquille O'Neal, Robert Downey Jr., and who am I forgetting?
David Letterman.
Come up with a movie featuring these 4 people with James Cameron directing it. Yeah. I told you would be on the spot.
So so I'm supposed to cast a movie with these guys in it, or?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you come up with a plot with like involving those guys.
I want to see. I'm just gonna go completely random here, and I want to see like a West Side Story type like movie with these guys in it, only with them like in some kind of gang or something in like the '60s. I don't know.
Oh, man. Okay, that was an interesting answer.
I don't know. I really don't know what else to say. I think a cast like that. I'm gonna go random right here. That is a good.
I'm gonna try and put some thought into this one.
All right, I'll let you pick 4 2, Chad, since that fifth one kind of went wayside for you. So pick from 1 to 100.
11.
11 is Simon Cowell.
42.
42 is George Lucas. So I guess
George.
I'll actually just add him as a director. You could pick some more.
37.
37 is Jerry Seinfeld.
Wow, we're already off to a great start here.
Pick 2 more, and then
21.
21 is Dr. Phil McGraw. So Dr. Phil. Wow. One more.
5.
Tiger Woods. Wow.
Tiger Woods. I think I got a more random cast than you did, TF.
You did.
I like how none of us get girls for these either. I think I would do a movie with the 4 of these guys, Simon Cowell, Jerry Seinfeld, Dr. Phil, and Tiger Woods, as like these friends that have like these totally different jobs, and they all want to get away and go on a vacation, but like all this crazy stuff happens, and then I would like kind of make it like The Hangover, where they like wake up and like none of them have any idea like what happened, and they kind of had to like retrace their steps, except I'd make it kind of different from The Hangover, and just kind of like, I don't know, just the idea of like all these guys in one movie. You got to go as random as you can. And I think that would be kind of fascinating, actually, like picturing these 4 guys on a road trip or something, and just I think you could do a lot of wacky stuff with that. I think that actually sounds like a good movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it does. I'd
watch it.
All right, those are both good answers. I know TF was put in the spot. And I did like imagine these situations.
I was not expecting that.
Now we will go to girls though. That's why I saved it, because I was like this week. If we had done DME, it would have been my week. So I'm gonna actually do just a random DME here, and right. I will open up a list, and you can pick from first. Chad, we'll put you on the spot here.
22. My favorite number.
2 is Rihanna. You're already off to a good start here.
Rihanna. 17.
17 is Jessica Alba. So, again, interesting start. One more.
57.
57 is Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson. I'm not really that into any of these girls, to be honest with you. I think maybe I'd marry Jessica Alba, because she's probably like the most appealing out of them. Maybe date Kate Hudson, and I guess that leaves Rihanna as my enemy. So,
which would be amusing in a sense.
Yeah, so there you go.
All right, you can go now, Tia.
12.
12 is Scarlett Johansson.
Ooh, how about 1?
1 is Brittany Snow.
And 8. I mean 88, not 8. I want to go on the other end of the spectrum.
88 is... I'm going to have a hard time saying his name, but Emile de Ravin?
Oh, yeah, she was in that.
Oh, yeah, Emily de
Ravin. She was in that. What was that show you liked? I watched it, too.
Roswell, yeah.
Yeah. She was also, I think, in Lost for a while, too.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
You fared better than I did, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to have, like, a huge crush on her, so, let's see, I had Scarlett Johansson, or who was the second one?
Brittany Snow.
Brittany Snow. Ooh, wow, I did get good here. Wow, I guess I would date Brittany Snow. I would date Emily DeRaven. I would marry Brittany Snow, and as attractive as she is, I guess that would make Scarlett Johansson my enemy. But oh well.
Better than Rihanna.
She can beat me up anytime she wants. And Rihanna would probably derive a lot of pleasure from beating you up, Chad. If you get my drift.
Yeah, I bet so. I'd be like the anti-Chris Brown.
All our frustrations out on you. We'll go to question 4, and you can answer first this time, Tia. This is actually back to the more normal questions. You're given the option to relive any one day from both of your fellow Pancake Boat podcasters' lives as if it were a movie. If you could go back and relive any one day that you've heard about from them, or even a day that includes you in it, but just seen it from an outside perspective, what day would you choose?
Oh man, this is actually a really, really good question.
Do you actually do one from both, or just
you do one from both. So one from me, one from Chad, and vice versa when you go, Chad.
There are a lot of them that I could look back on and kind of want to see what they were like from when both of you, but the one that's kind of sticking out in my head is I would really like to have been around or like lived through that infamous day when I always hear about that truth or dare game between like Chad and like I think it might have even been you and some other guys when like I don't even know if it was like a truth or dare. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah, it was an MSN Truth or Dare game, and to be honest with you, I think it would be a boring movie because I think Brad was the only one that actually did those dares.
Yeah.
He swears up and down that to this day, like someone pulled a gun on him.
But looking back on it, like just like just for like memory's sake, I always imagine all that stuff that you said you did to actually have happened, and I would have loved to have actually like seen that, but
actually, Joe said he did like eat some what was it?
Vaseline, yes.
Vaseline.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to change. That reminds me. I'm going to change my my answer here. I would like to go back and live through that day that you mentioned when you and your friend made those strange concoctions and drank them and like filmed yourself like puking them all over the place.
I actually would love to find that one day and put it on the internet.
I think there's actually I would like to just watch that video first of all, but I would also actually just like to go live through that day just because I don't know, it just sounded so hilarious to me. But I mean, there's like several that I wish I had more time to look back on to say that I'd like to live through. But
we gotta do that ourselves one day. Just like go to a grocery store and buy like a bunch of random stuff and just put it all together.
As far as you, Joe, let me think about this for a minute. Maybe with you, I actually would go and say that day when you know the whole truth or dare thing went through, just because the whole concept of that truth or dare thing just seems so hilarious to me because it was so wild and out there. But
if we had webcams back there, I could imagine like the stuff would actually be happening. So
oh, man.
In a modern day setting, that would kind of be interesting.
I have a feeling there'd be some better ones from you though, because there were some kind of like I have heard some funny stories about moments that you've lived through, like. That
whole summer of 2002 would make for a great.
Yeah, like really, that's kind of what I was leaning towards. But I guess I'll use those as my answers.
All right, what about you, Chad?
I think it's a tie for me with TF. I think for one, I would want to see the day relived where he like at the fireworks show where he like touched that girl inappropriately.
On accident, by the way. Don't make me sound like I'm some like rapist or something. Pervert.
And I would also really like to see like your day with Kelsey because that sounded so interesting with like the Aladdin wedding and everything. I would really like to see that.
Yeah, that was an interesting day.
As far as Joe goes, if I really thought about this, I think I would come up with a better answer, but for some reason, like, the first thing that pops into my mind is, like, when he was telling me that he was, like, 11 years old, like, laying in bed, and this, this cop, like, goes up to his door, and he's like, open up, Revere!
I think I was, like, older than that, but...
Okay, I want to experience that, too.
That just always sounded hilarious to me, and I remember, like, Joe actually used to get mad at me finding that funny, because he's like, dude, that was one of the most traumatic days of my life. And I'm like, sorry, but it's funny.
It is funny looking
That
back.
reminds me of the time when I forgot to like take back some video game from like Blockbuster, and they sent the cop to my door, and we're like, I was like, wow, that's overkill right there. Wasting forces time.
Especially because you talk about how like the police barely do anything around there, but they actually go door to door for late video
They've
rentals.
actually been at my door looking for me twice somehow.
Wow.
That was definitely quite the answer there, but yeah, I can definitely say a day where those cops came was like 3 a.m. in the morning. And I actually didn't sleep that night. I'm like still in the school that day. So
yeah,
it was
open up.
Yeah, it was just like that. They like knocked on the door while I was sleeping. It was like, open up. They had like guns in their back, like they're like ready to come in and like shoot if they had to. And I was like, wow, like what the heck?
Were they like looking for your stepfather for something? Like,
yeah, like he was going through like a rough time, man. I guess he was like involved in gang activity. They said or something. Like, I don't even know what happened with that, but he didn't even live there at the time. They just like randomly, I guess they found it as an old address, and they were like randomly showing up with like guns and stuff. Like,
oh, they're looking for like a different Revilla or something, or they think you're
no, it was my stepdad. They figured that like. I guess I don't know what they were looking for. They were like searching my room and stuff, like going through my closet and all this stuff. And I was like, they like taped us, like they had to like tape us, and like we were like in our pajamas and stuff, and somewhere, yeah, like tape, like tape on what do you call it, like videotape, like recording it.
Why?
I don't know.
Was
they
this
said
like cops or something?
I don't know. They were like asking us questions and stuff, and I don't remember the questions now, but it was just a very deep time.
Sounds kind of like the FBI showed up at your door or something.
I don't think it was the FBI, but it was pretty close in the comparison there. So, that would probably be one of the most interesting days of my life to actually like go back and relive. I can see your interest there. All right, we'll go on to question number 5. And this one's actually kind of amusing with something we said earlier during that DME. So, I believe it's your turn to answer first, Chad. And in this sense, you get the girl that you love and end up marrying confesses to you that she gets turned on by beating up someone. She confesses to you that now that you're married, she would like to be able to live out her fantasy of being dominant and controlled by abusing you in the bedroom. She assures you that she would not do this outside the bedroom, but it is kind of a fantasy for her inside the bedroom. Do you take part in this, and how do you react to it?
Dude, do you even have to ask? Of course I would go with this. It sounds kind of awesome in a way.
The idea of like some girl beating you and choking you like playfully, not like literally doing it, but just the idea.
Yeah, that sounds hot to me. I don't know about you guys, but
I'll let TF answer it.
I think I'm going to have to ask you to read me this question again.
Basically, the girl that you end up marrying confesses to you something that she didn't confess before, and she kind of gets turned on by beating up people, and she wants to act out her fantasy in the bedroom of abusing you, and she promises that it's not real abuse and she won't like really abuse you, but she actually just wants to act out her fantasy and wants to know if you would take part in it with her.
Is this like a one-time thing, or
no? This is like all the time.
I mean, I'd be open to it, but I don't know if I'd be like technically speaking down with this, but
I'm down.
I picture that Misery video from like Maroon 5.
Misery. I don't know. It really would depend on who the girl was. I mean, if it was like totally out of her character, like if she was like this like total nice girl or whatever, and like totally unthreatening, I might kind of be like, okay, this is kind of I don't know, kind of cute.
She has like hidden fantasies of doing this to you.
I would picture like some like obscure celebrity that TF likes doing this.
Taylor Swift.
And
oh man,
what about someone like Chad who like beat up by Lucy Hale or something like that? Very interesting.
Yeah, considering she's like a foot shorter than him, literally.
I'd go for it.
Those were some interesting answers, and that was 5 random questions. Like I said,
I don't think Joe was expecting me to be quite so open to it.
I was not. I was like,
you thought it was gonna be taboo, but it turned out it was like you were like ready to rumble, like literally and figuratively.
I think I'd be as excited as she was, to be honest with you.
Oh man.
What about you, Joe? Would you go through with this?
I'm kind of like TF in the sense that maybe once or twice, but actually doing this like regularly would probably be pretty bad, just because, like, can you imagine if we like all live like close to each other and like we all show up to like, I don't know, like a movie night or something, and like show up like these black eyes and like looking all beat up, what the heck happened to you, man?
Oh man, imagine you like look in the window, like you live next door and you like look out the window and you look over and like in like the bedroom and you see like one of the other guys like being beaten the crap out of.
You're like, oh god, I gotta call the cops right now. You're the screaming and yelling, stop it.
That is one of the best questions you've ever asked, Joe.
This is on a week where I had to like scramble. And I was like, I don't even know what prompted that. To be honest with you, I just like thought of that. It's kind of funny because, like I said, you were like talking about like Rihanna beating you down. So
Nah, I wouldn't be as into that. I'm not really into Rihanna, but if it's a girl I really like, sure.
all right, well that was 5 random questions, and like I said, it was a ridiculous week, but you guys came through with your answers there.
Quite the show tonight is all I can say. Between that Lidsville review and that last question, but a very fun show.
I agree.
Always
I
fun.
thought it was fun.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you all for listening, and we'll be back next week. Same time, same bat channel, same blah, blah, blah.
And before Joe cuts me off again this week, I just want to thank everybody for listening, as always. Hope you enjoyed the show. Take care and have a good one.
We'll see you next week, everybody, for another ridiculous show. Don't you dare miss it.